The stars were burning quiet the night the Odessa drift caught fire. They'd been cruising a routine cargo run, 10 cryo coffins full of helium miners, bound for asteroid colony 7C. Easy credits. No heat, no hazard. Just the kind of quiet Jed dust Calder liked. He was stretched in the pilot chair, boots propped, hat tipped low, sipping synth whiskey from his dented flask. The drift wasn't a warship, but Jed had always kept her lean. Light on crew, heavy on armor. She had enough firepower to discourage raiders, and enough scars to suggest she'd already had her say in more than one border skirmish. But none of that mattered. Not when the scalers came, no warning, just a static flicker on long-range sensors, and then the drift shook like a dying mule. External cams went dark. Gravity blinked. Jed slammed into the console as red lights filled the cockpit. "Breach!" the AI barked. "Starboard cargo. Hull integrity compromised." Jed cursed, scrambling upright. Pirates, but not the kind you drink with after. These were scalers, void-born freaks from the Antares fringe. Rumors said they'd once been human. Whatever they were now, they'd gone feral in the dark. Long limbs, bone armor, neural spikes fused into their skulls. Fast, smart, and damn hard to kill. Jed dropped down the access ladder, grabbing Betsy, his double-barrel plasma shotgun, from the locker and belting on a bandolier of canisters and charge packs. By the time he hit Deck 4, the lights were strobing and gravity had gone sideways. He slipped into cover as one of the scalers stalked through the corridor, its 4 spider-thin limbs tapping against the metal. Its face was split open like a flower, eyes glowing violet, scenting the air. Jed waited. Let it pass. Then, boom! One shot. A plasma round lit up the hallway, blowing a hole in the creature's spine. It writhed, hissing, but didn't fall. Instead, it surged forward. Jed barely dodged as it tackled a side wall, digging in with clawed feet. He dropped a flash charge and dove left. White light filled the corridor. The thing screeched. A second shell to the head ended it. But he could hear more coming. Jed didn't have time for a fair fight. He sealed the deck doors, overloaded the coolant line, and rigged a plasma tank from the engineering bay as a makeshift trap. When 3 more scalers burst in, the explosion blew out the corridor. He ran for the cryo hold. If they got to the miners, it was over. 2 more hours. 10 more encounters. He got stabbed in the side by one that played dead. His left arm got scorched when a Scalor's plasma blade clipped him mid-sprint. He stitched himself up between firefights using autogel and curse words. At one point, he crawled through a vent, while a pair of them scouted below. He took one out from the vent with a silenced bolt pistol. The other, he waited, dropped behind it, crushed its windpipe with the stock of Betsy, and shoved it into the airlock. Then he vented the bastard. On Deck 3, they made a stand. 4 scalers, a cluster, coordinated, tactical. One hacked the ship's systems, dimming lights and overloading the gravity to disorient him. Another dragged a miner out of cryo as bait. Jed watched from a darkened hallway. His ribs were cracked. He'd lost blood. His left eye was foggy from a head hit. But he still had 2 charges left, and a whole lot of hate. He slotted the last frag charge into a cargo hauler, sent it drifting toward them, silent. As they closed in on the makeshift decoy, he leapt down from above, fired both barrels, and dove behind a console as the charge blew. 2 scalers evaporated in blue fire. One limped, snarling. Jed rushed it. No shells left, just fists, elbows, and broken ribs. The fight was short, brutal, and left him coughing blood. But he was the one still breathing. With the ship half dead and only emergency power running, Jed still had one job to do: deliver the miners. The drift wasn't flying anywhere, but the cargo shuttle, barely functional, still had some life. Jed rerouted life support, loaded the cryopods manually, and slumped into the pilot chair. His hands were shaking. His vision was doubled, but the drift's nav AI still worked. Plotted course to Helion 7C, it chimed. Flight time, 2 hours, 14 minutes. Jed spat blood into a rag. "Punch it!" The shuttle wobbled off the docking clamp like a drunk leaving a bar at 3 a.m., but it flew. He passed out somewhere near the moons of Valis. Came to with atmosphere alarms and the scent of ozone. The docking port of Helion 7C hissed open. A squad of miners and medtechs found him slumped beside the pilot chair, Betsy still in his lap, blood pooled at his side. Every cryopod intact. 3 weeks later, he walked into a bar on asteroid Vex, a fresh scar over his eye and a limp in his step. The bartender recognized him from the vids. "You're the guy from the drift. They said you were dead." Jed lifted a brow, ordered a drink. "Got close," he said, sipping. "Death and I had words. I reckon he blinked." No one in that saloon called him Jed after that. They called him Dead Man Calder, and he never had to pay for a drink again.